The tunnel had once been a bustling part of the town's history, a lifeline for trade and travel. But one fateful night, decades ago, a train had vanished within its depths, swallowed by the darkness without a trace. The authorities searched 4 days, but all they found were twisted tracks and an eerie silence that seemed to echo with the screams of the missing souls. From that day on, the tunnel was sealed off, and the town tried to forget its existence. But legends have a way of lingering, and whispers of ghostly apparitions and unexplained noises began to spread, turning the empty tunnel into a local legend of dread. It was a cold autumn evening when a group of friends, driven by youthful curiosity and the thirst for adventure, decided to explore the Forbidden Tunnel. They were college students, full of bravado and skepticism, convinced that the stories were nothing more than superstition. Among them was Sarah, a quiet girl with a keen interest in history. Jake, the confident leader of the group. Emily, the practical one who always had a plan. And Mark, the jokester who tried to lighten the mood with his humor. As they approached the tunnel's entrance, the air grew colder, and a sense of foreboding settled over them. The once bustling railway now lay silent, the tracks overgrown with weeds and vines. The entrance yawned like a black maw, inviting them into its depths. Mark made a feeble attempt at a joke, but even he seemed uneasy as they stepped inside. The tunnel was darker than they had imagined, the dim light from their flashlights barely piercing the thick darkness. The walls were damp and cold, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. They walked in silence, the only sound being the echo of their footsteps and the occasional drip of water. The deeper they went, the more the atmosphere seemed to press down on them, as if the very walls were alive and watching. Then, without warning, the lights flickered and died. Panic surged through the group as they were plunged into complete darkness. Mark's voice broke the silence, a strained attempt at reassurance. "Guys, it's just the batteries. We'll get them working again." But as he fumbled with the flashlights, a chilling sound filled the air, a low, mournful wail that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Sarah felt a cold hand on her shoulder and spun around, but there was nothing there. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. The wailing grew louder, more insistent, and she could feel the presence of something unseen, something that sent shivers down her spine. "We need to get out of here," Emily said urgently, her voice shaking. They turned to run, but the tunnel seemed to shift and twist around them. The walls closed in, and the floor became uneven, tripping them and slowing their escape. The wailing grew into a cacophony of screams, and they could hear whispers in the darkness, voices that spoke of pain and loss, of souls trapped forever in the empty tunnel. Jake stumbled and fell, and as he looked up, he saw a ghostly figure standing before him. It was a conductor, dressed in the uniform of a bygone era, his face twisted in agony. "Leave this place," he croaked, his voice a hollow echo. "You are not meant to be here." The others gathered around him, their fear uniting them in a desperate struggle to escape. As they pushed forward, they stumbled upon a section of the tunnel where the tracks had been torn apart. In the center lay a rusted lantern, its glass shattered, but still glowing with a faint, otherworldly light. Sarah reached out and touched it, and in that moment, she saw visions of the past, the train that had vanished, the passengers and crew trapped in an instant of terror, their fates sealed by an unknown force. With a newfound determination, they clutched the lantern and continued their escape. The wailing and whispers faded as they neared the entrance, and the oppressive darkness began to lift. But as they emerged into the cool night air, they knew that the empty tunnel would never truly be behind them. The horror they had experienced was a reminder that some places are cursed, haunted by the echoes of tragedy and loss. Years later, the legend of the empty tunnel grew even darker. Those who dared to venture near it spoke of seeing ghostly figures and hearing the distant wail of the lost souls, and the group of friends, forever changed by their experience, never forgot the night they faced the horrors of the empty tunnel, a place where the past refuses to stay buried and the living are forever haunted by the shadows of the forgotten.